What do you do when the world feels like a story you can't make up? And what if the hope we need comes in the most unexpected form? A child. Consider this as you listen to this episode of Your Week with St. Luke's, your weekly podcast from St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Orlando that invites you to go deeper with Scripture to learn God's story so that together we can live, love, and lead a life following Jesus to awaken disciples and reveal the kingdom. This is the first part of our new series, A Real Christmas. You can't make this up. Some of our favorite holiday classics help us make sense of our world, but the greatest story ever told is even more real, raw, and full of hope. Let's jump right in.
Grace and peace, and welcome to another episode of Your Week with St. Luke's. This week, once again, we have all of your pastors with you, our lead pastor, Jenn, Pastor Melissa, and me, Pastor Jad. We're here to kick off a new sermon series. We're here to step into a new Christian year and a new Christian season and talk about the text and the movement of this season. So, Melissa, tell us about this new season we're stepping into.
It's Advent!
Surprise! We didn't know!
It is many of our favorite seasons of the year, Advent, which is the beginning of the Christian year. So Happy New Year, everyone. We always like to make that a little joke every year. But truly, it is the beginning of the Christian year because it is our first season of preparation. We have 2 seasons of preparation in the Christian year that lead up to what are known as feast days. So Christmas and Easter both are big feast days in Christian tradition. And so the seasons leading up to each of those are seasons of preparation. So Lent for Easter, but right now we're leading into the season leading up to Christmas, which is Advent. And Advent, we often think of being a season of waiting is a theme that often we focus on is the idea, like I said in the last podcast, I like to think about our liturgical calendar teaching us a little bit of emotional intelligence. So there's an element of patience, there's an element of anticipation, and what do we do with those feelings? How do we think of those as ways of engaging the divine and growing in our sanctification? But what are we waiting for? Well, we're waiting for Jesus. But it's interesting because Advent has 2 different meanings. There's 2 different Jesuses that we are waiting for, if you will. One is we're moving towards the birth of Jesus, the coming of God enfleshed in the Christ child at Christmas. But also we're past that, right? We know that has also already come, and so Advent is also our season that's a little bit more apocalyptic, if you will. That is looking towards Christ's return, when all things will be made new. And when the kingdom will be fully realized in our world on earth as it is in heaven. We more often focus on that first meaning, going towards the celebration of Christmas. And Jen's shaking her head if you are not watching this on video.
Not this year. I'm ready. I am ready. I am praying.
Come on back, Jesus.
This has been a running joke in my house. I'm like, I'm good. We're good. We've had a good life. Let's just come back. Come on. Jesus. I'm like Paul, like Paul, where he writes, I quoted Timothy last time. I think he wrote it in Timothy when he was instructing people, and he was like, just don't get married. Like, if you're single, stay single. like
Jesus is going to come
coming back. And that's the way I feel, which brings us to our Advent series.
Okay.
Actually, we are going to be a real Christmas, REEL. And we're going to be looking at storytelling at Christmas time and the storytelling of movies. But of course, the greater storytelling of the story that God is telling through the incarnation of Jesus Christ. But we came up with it for a variety of reasons. But one of the reasons is because when you look around the world, the thing that we often say is you just can't make this up. Like you can't make up what's going on right now. And while many of us who study sociology or study history recognize that the world continues to move through these shifts that are how many year cycle, Melissa? that we're usually on? Where we
Depends on 20 to 25-ish. Yeah.
Right. The truth is we do look around the world, we listen to the news, we hear what's going on in social media, and we just, a lot of us shake our heads and go, you can't make this up. We say that about living in Florida, right? Like, you can't make this stuff up, right? The Florida man and all those kind of memes and things like that. But I think that's part of the reason why like when we come to Christmas time, a lot of us, not everyone, but a lot of us turn to these Christmas tales that we've told, these Christmas stories that we told. We go back to movies or stories or even music, kind of fiction that those help us make sense of the world around us. I don't think they necessarily make us escape. They make us sort of make sense. Like, it's going to be okay. Other people feel the same way, or other people go the same thing. And so we're going to be looking at kind of some nostalgic Christmas movies that most people know. Not everybody watches Christmas movies, right, Melissa? Okay.
Not picking up the same ones.
Because here's the thing. We use the culture around us to make sense of the world, but when we go back to the story of God and the coming of Christ, you cannot make up a better story, you can't make up a better story.
Let's go more better. I like it. I like it.
It is honestly the most fantastical story. Like, if God was going to come and be a part of us, to come be us with skin on, to come and trade the heavenly throne to be one of us, but then to choose to do it like in the midst of poverty, in a little town in Bethlehem, where there was no place for him to stay, to the poor, like, you can't make this up. And God goes, I know, because I wanted you to believe in the mystery and the power of it. So that's how we're kind of tying it all together. It'll make sense as we go. I promise you it'll be really powerful. But we're going to be looking at that. And instead of shaking our head in discouragement around the world going, you can't make this up, we're going to look at the story and go, oh, thank God we couldn't make this up. Because if we could have made it up, it would have been our story and not God's story.
Right.
So let's start with Advent 1.
Yeah, and we'll be in Isaiah this week, Isaiah chapter 9. And so Isaiah is like one big book in the Bible we have today, but it's believed to be the composition of 2, if not 3, different books that were put together a long time ago. And so since we're in Isaiah 9, we're in First Isaiah, because First Isaiah is chapter 1 through 39, and that contains a material that's probably from the 8th century, and where it's linked to this visionary helping the people understand what's happening in their context. So a lot of what's happening in Isaiah 1 is there are other powers coming in to what is today Israel and Palestine, and they're dealing with a loss of identity and a struggle within who they are. And is God here with us? Is God present in the midst of all of this? And Isaiah is speaking some hard truths to them, and with a lot of hope and a lot of looking forward. So that's what we have in Isaiah chapter 9 in our text for today.
So let's read it. So it's a familiar text because we often read it on Christmas Eve, and we're kind of like, we want you to know the end, remember the end of the story as we begin. We want to know where we're headed as we move into this journey of Advent. So it says, the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them light has shined. You have multiplied the nation, you have increased its joy. They rejoice before you as with joy at the harvest, as people exult when dividing plunder. For the yoke of their burden and the bar across their shoulder, the rod of their oppressor, you have broken, as on the day of Midian. For all the boots of the tramping warriors and all the garments rolled in blood shall be burned as fuel for the fire. For a child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Great will be his authority, and there shall be endless peace for the throne of David and his kingdom. And he will establish and uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time onward and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of the hosts will do this. So the word this week is hope. And I always love, we just finished walking through the whole Bible in Disciple 1, and I love, we ended chapter 12 in the Old Testament and began chapter 1 with the Gospel of Mark. And there's 400 years in between. There's that intertestamental, is that how you say it? Period. Where the people were in darkness. They really, like the people in exile in Isaiah, because this was written before that, they thought their God had abandoned them, that they were just like, and in a way you can hear them going, well, you can't make this up. Like, we thought we were the chosen people. We thought we were the people of God, but we've been exiled. We've been brought back. There's nothing. Everything's in ruin. There's just darkness. Where is God? To that, Isaiah brings this word, but like, before we talk about hope, what is hopelessness?
I was talking to a St. Luker recently who is kind of wrestling with life turning out differently than they had visioned. And I think having to have a realization or starting to see writing on the wall that the kind of pictures that you had for what was going to come are no longer possible to look like that. And so I think that's what comes to mind, is that it doesn't have to be a full despair, right? It doesn't have to even be like a full, like nothing is hopeful, but there's something I have been moving towards or visioning for what is going to come from my life, and realizing, okay, that's not going to be it. I think there's a really practical piece. That's what comes to mind of that feeling of hopelessness, of going, I had a picture and it's not going to be that anymore. So what am I doing?
Yeah, and I think some words that I put around that when I feel hopelessness is that I thought I had a clue, but I don't have a clue. And sometimes it's I don't have the energy to search for the clue, and other times it's I don't have the mercy to offer to the person. For me, those moments are deep moments of hopelessness. And the other word I think of, which can sound very Pollyanna, is temporary. But those are moments, like the language I use are moments of hopelessness. Um, and of course, I have friends, we have friends who struggle with longer moments of struggle. But for me, that's some of hopelessness. I don't know where to turn. I don't have a clue anymore about what to do next.
Well, and those moments that are thinking about what could be next, then can make us look backwards and go, well, did any of that matter too? So those things that are temporary and momental, I don't know, but singular moments,
Momental.
It can then get into our heads and put into question things that we knew or experienced or did, and start to put things into question that have nothing to do with those moments too. So the hopelessness is where it starts to seep into far more of your life than it has anything to do with sometimes too.
And that's where it's important for all of us to be there for each other, to help break those cycles, to help remember the resilience that's within us, to help remember the community that's around us, right? Because we all have moments, some are long, some are short, of hopelessness. But to have a voice speak into us that, remember, I literally texted my eldest adult child 2 weeks ago. I hear you're having a hard time. Remember, you've been through hard times before. I I didn't know what else to say to them. But I think we need those voices. And for me, that's kind of what Isaiah is and
Yeah.
what Isaiah is doing here is a voice that can help break that cycle to come up for air, to help you realize, oh, I can touch when you feel like you're drowning. And somebody helps you put your feet down and go, no, look, look, look. The water's still high, but Isaiah speaks this word that
Well,
breaks
and
that.
so what's interesting to me, and of course, we have to be really careful because this is Jewish scripture. It was not necessarily our Jewish siblings don't necessarily see that the answer, a child is born is necessarily Jesus. We read it through the lens of understanding that they could be talking about a king who is going to come and bring restoration to
Very
the
much so.
people. But we do see this as our fulfillment of this word of hope is Jesus. And what's fascinating is, Jad, you're right. I do think Isaiah is this prophetic word. He was a prophet talking to a group of people, but this prophetic friend that comes along and says, no, remember, light shines. And you're like, oh, okay, what's the light? What's going to break the arm of the oppressors, right? What's going to make us so excited? It's like joy at the harvest or when we're dividing. What is going to the yoke of their burden and the bar across their shoulder, the rod of the oppressors you have broken, and all the boots and the garments will be rolled up and used as fuel for the fire. All the fighting's going to be gone. What's it going to be? Who's going to come and bring me this hope? A child.
What?
I mean, don't you think even for the Jewish people who were waiting for a king to do all that, right? A king who, like a King David, who's going to come back and really serve the Lord and put the God first. You're
But
like, what do I have to wait till he's like 20 years old? Like a child? I don't need a child in this moment. We have plenty of children around. Like, don't
neither.
is there anyone who's ever thought of that? Or is this just me in this moment who really wants Jesus to come back tomorrow?
Well, I mean, lean into that, Jen. Lean into that. But a child is hope, right? A life coming, right?
That's good. Okay, I get
Maturity
you on that. I get you on
coming, and something's on the horizon because this may be a pre-exilic text. This may be
right.
like before the final the Babylonians have come in and fully destroys Jerusalem. So they don't even know how bad it's gonna get. And even
Right.
before that, it's like there is hope. A
Right.
child will be born. There is light that's gonna come. And you feel hopelessness now, but
Well,
something's being born.
again, that's that fantastical story. Like you
Yeah.
can't make it up.
Yeah.
That God goes, I want to give you this gift of light. I want to gift you this gift that's going to break the rod, the wonderful counselor, the Prince of Peace, the everlasting Father, mighty God. And by the way, it's going to first come as a baby,
Right.
which you're right. A baby is hope for all that can be, hope for all that is possibility and potential and all those dreams you have when you hold that baby, for the first time, right or wrong. It is the gift of potential. And I think that's an interesting, but again, for God to flip us on our heads and go, in order for you to depend on that hope, first the hope has to depend on you to raise it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny, I kind of see this text is kind of like a vision board for the people of Israel. Like,
Right. Yeah.
let's lay out. God is through the prophet laying out a little bit of a vision board of what is to come. But part of when we make something like a vision board is us then doing the things that get us there too. So there's a participatory element of that. But I think there's something to be said about the jarring nature of the child in this, in that again, they had a picture of what it was supposed to be like. It has become clear that picture isn't possible. And so to offer them a picture that is so different,
Yeah.
I think it is a way of also sparking their imagination to dream differently for themselves. Even if it wasn't a child, even if it came in a different format, even if child was a metaphor. I mean, we believe that child was a literal, human. But to be able to say, hey, let's look at this totally differently, because I want to help you be more creative in your envisioning of what is to come, and see it in a bigger picture, in a cosmic way, and not in a concrete, empire way, because that's a lot of what had to get shifted, is getting out of like, we are now gonna be the empire, to seeing it a little bit differently. So I think there's something about the jarring nature of that image, even if you take the literal, prophecy out of it, that we believe.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
and
it is ambitious too,
Mhm.
right?
yeah.
Like it's an ambitious vision, and one scholar says that this, or not one scholar, a group of scholarship says that this section is like a hymn. It is a joyful hymn celebrating this coming, and so like that is very ambitious, and especially if you think about the context that this is originally coming from.
Well, and I love the fact that we are beginning Advent with it, because Advent is about preparing room for the Christ child to be born in us. And the truth is, some of us need to clean out our cynicism, which are shaking our head. I can't believe that you can't
Can
make
make
this,
this up.
you can't make this up.
Yeah.
And I need to do a hard cleansing of that in order for hope to be born again. Like, it's not that hope isn't there, it's that I don't have room for it, because I've crowded out hope with my cynicism and with my disgruntledness and my exhaustion and my giving up, which is interesting because this week, to give you a preview, is about the Christmas Carol, which everybody knows is my absolute favorite book. And it's the very beginning where Scrooge is talking to his nephew, and the nephew's like, Merry Christmas. He's like, this hope. It's like when Jad walks into your office and you're having a bad day. That is what I see this kid. Jad is like, hello, Merry Christmas. It's so great. And you're going,
No, it's
what
not.
is great about it? I mean, that is actually Scrooge.
You
feel
take
like
that somewhere else, sir.
that's what he has a
Well,
whole
this is all we ever hear.
paragraph monologue about, like, what's good about it? What's good about Christmas? Like, everybody spends too much money. Like, it's very grounded, reality, pragmatic. There's just a cynical, what is there to be merry about, except this season makes everyone worse off than they were.
Well,
and it is. It is. And
Favorite
I
season,
love,
y'all.
and what's beautiful about it is that in the end, the nephew's like, but that's okay, because I believe even in this season, even the hardest of hearts can be turned around. It is transformation, and it's going to come in a way, for Scrooge, it's going to come in a way of spirits. Spirits, by the way, not to get into the sermon too much, but spirits, by the way, that are very biblical, the way Dickens wrote them. Very, very biblical. But yeah, what does it mean to have that prophetic Isaiah voice, that nephew voice, that Pastor Jad voice that comes in with like, no, it's gonna be, here's the vision board, make room for it, make room as if a baby's about to be born in your life, because then when we get to Christmas Eve, we'll be ready for
but
Christ.
as you say that, Jen, like, let's go back to, we would love Jesus to come back right now. That'd be fine. Welcome. I would not be happy if you told me it was going to be a baby again.
This is true.
Right? I align with that, of like, if you were going to say Jesus is coming back, but he's going to be a baby, I'd be like, that's not what we need right now. So I need to set myself into the shoes of an Israelite right now.
Right, because if I get ready for a baby, here's the thing: if you've ever gotten ready for a baby of a baby person, a baby animal,
I've done that.
you've got to like reorder your day. You've got to reorder your expenses, because there's new expenses. You're gonna have to reorder your heart, your time, and we will be ready when Christ comes again if we do that work.
Right. In whatever form.
In whatever form. Exactly. So there we go. That's what we're doing. Looking for hope in a real Christmas this year.
Gonna be
So
real.
we'll see you Sunday. And it's going to be the first Sunday of Advent, which is good. The sanctuary is going to be beautiful. And we're going to come back and we're going to have an amazing, amazing 4-week journey together. So we hope that you'll walk with us. We hope you'll not only read the text and study the text for yourself, but ask yourself, like, where are you? Like, where are you in terms of that hope scale, so to speak? And how do you make room for this Christ that is to be born and incarnate among us? And why not watch the movies with us as you go along? Watch Christmas Carol this week.
Or a Muppets Christmas Carol.
I was gonna say the Muppet one's the best.
That's
so.
really
Well, that's the thing. We so need this story of Scrooge and hope that we keep remaking it. It's
like 1,000 times.
We got Muppets, we got everything. So I think it's a universal story.
All right, we'll see you Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.